that.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
Yes, sir. You know, Fluent Jr.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what it is or how it is, but he does this. He says, "Yes, sir." I can't even mimic how he does it. He's like, I gotta get the button of him saying, "Yes, sir,"
because on the board.
It sounds so good, but I can't copy it. I don't know how to do it differently. And it's just it's interesting. That being
speaking of good, Tone, I noticed that there's a little color to you. What's going on, Tone?
Oh, this is what they call baseball season bronze. Baseball season bronze. The boys. Yeah. I love the fact. Listen, don't get me wrong. You know I love basketball. Basketball's my everything. Let me first say shout out to Ticket, who joined us on NBA Max on Sunday. I missed you, brother. It was good to talk with Ticket again. Just FYI, it's a little bit calmer, but not softer Ticket. Same, staying true to who he is, which that's why I appreciate him. That's why I respect him. Yeah. That being said, I love basketball.
Yeah.
But when basketball season ends, which ended this weekend, by the way, unfortunately, we lost a tight one in the championship. We got the silver, but that's okay. Silver's good. Silver's good. Played a very good team. They had a kid who could go. He's like almost 6 foot with handles and go coast to coast anytime he wanted to.
At 12?
At 12.
Oh my goodness.
And so we lost by 4. It was a tight one, and honestly, we got 2 or 3 open shots that we missed. That's it. We set up the plays. They ran the plays. They didn't make a couple of shots, and we got the silver. That being said, with basketball being done, I get to stop coaching and be a dad, and I get to be a dad watching baseball. So I get to just sit there and cheer and get some, as you can see, get some sun.
Now you ain't that kind of dad though, Tone. Are you screaming at me because I missed a strikeout?
Oh no. I'm very positive. I'm very positive because if you're playing baseball, you're doing something I was never able to do. So I nothing. And he's also good. Like he's the shortstop. He's the starting shortstop. He's calling out the plays. I think he's perfect in the field. Double play all by himself this weekend. Like caught it, ran to third, tag out the guy who forgot to tag up. He's hitting like 400. Like he steals more bases than anybody because you know how fast he is. You've seen him. He's fast. He's quick and fast. So I can say nothing about his baseball. He's trying hard. He's doing great.
Right.
But I get to just cheer. I get to just cheer and sit in the sun, and it's so relaxing compared to being a coach because when you're coaching your kid, did you ever coach your daughter?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so when you coach your kid, you're kind of like in this worst scenario where you have to be the dad, but you also have to be the coach.
Sure.
So you got to coach and encourage and can't favorite. And sometimes you overcompensate and you're actually harder on him than the other kids because you don't want them to think that your favorite, being a favorite. Sometimes I play him less minutes than he earned because I don't want anyone ever saying like I play him more because he's my kid. And like, it's funny. And like this, I think I've done it right because I have parents telling me, hey, your sons are this, that shocks the hell out of me. He's our defensive spark plug. When he goes on there, like our defense goes to a whole nother level. Like you got to put him in more. And I'm like, I know, but I don't want to, but your kid. And they're like, I don't care. Bench my kid. Put your kid. And I'm like, all right, I know that I'm doing it right. So yeah, I got some sun, I got some color. We had a nice little tournament. Played a few games. Heartbreaking. Lost the first 2 games each by 1 run, and each time with a tragically bad call by the umps. And I'm not saying that as a dad. Bottom of the 6th, bases loaded. Not my son, another player on the team hits it. Single, drives in the tying run, but on the backswing, drops the bat. It hits the ground and hits the back catcher, and they call it a thrown bat and call them out. and that's how the game ends.
Because it hit the plate and then hit the catcher.
They said
It bounced off the plate.
they
Give
said
me
it
a
was
break,
thrown.
Tone.
They said it was thrown and that they'd already been warned. No one knew about the warning. No problem. Second game, this is my son. Hits a line drive back at the pitcher. He fumbles it, goes to chase him, and you know how fast he is. He goes like this, and say that he's the mic, misses by like this much.
Yeah.
Say they called it a tag and he's out.
He clearly was. He missed it.
Clear. We have two camera angles, but it's not like that. It's kids, right? So, but
Right.
that was again the game tying run. So we lose by one.
Oh, you
Good
missed
news.
them.
There's silver lining. Silver lining.
Oh boy.
The last game, the team that we're playing has to beat us to go to the final because it's a round robin, right?
We
If
ain't
they
going.
beat us, they're in the final. We could play spoiler. We beat them 6-2.
We ain't going. You ain't going.
We ain't going. You ain't going. And because of that, we didn't play on the Sunday on Father's Day, which allowed us because we were going to skip the last two games of the basketball playoffs because it's baseball season.
Sure.
And we got to play the basketball games too. So it all worked out great.
Okay. All right. That
It
works.
all worked out. And
Nice.
I got a nice little tan.
Now,
And
where was it, Tone? Was it in your town or?
No. No. The basketball was maybe 20 minutes away.
Okay.
But no, the baseball was in a place called London, Ontario, which is about 2.5 hours away from me. However,
Yeah.
everything always has a good side. That's where my brother and his family live. So I got to see my niece and nephew. They got to hang out with their cousins. My brother, as you know, he was home, but then had to fly out to OKC for game 5.
Yep.
Got Fluent Jr. a nice J-dub, the right J-dub. He tricked us so bad. He said, "What jersey do you want?" So his cousin got SGA, but like, you know, the official one with the finals logo on the back and everything.
Yep.
So he goes, "Okay, my cousin has SGA. Give me J-dub." So my brother's like, "Okay, cool." So he's there and he goes, "So I got J-dub, right? Or you got Williams, number 34, right?" He's like, "No, not the number 8, number 8." And he goes, No, I have a Williams, number 34. Not that one. He got the right.
Come on,
He
man.
got the right one. He got the right one. And then I was like, "Dude, you gotta like please confirm." And he goes, and he's like, "Bro, like I know what I'm doing."
Mhm.
And so he sends, and he goes, and he sends. Here we go. Because you know he works kind of in the production side of it. So there. That's the right one. We're like, yeah, that's right.
Sure. Now, see, Tone and I, as you guys know, Tone and I, you know, we're in different phases. Tone, he's got the pre-teens. I'm already past that. I got the adult daughter that's, you know, going to make me a grandfather one day. So.
Oh, I thought you had some breaking news.
I do not have any breaking news. No, I don't. But you know,
I was going to give you
no, that's not going on yet, right? I have not gotten that phone call yet, but I did get the Happy Father's Day. From the kid. But yeah, me and Tone's still in that phase with pre-adolescent kids and
Jay's talking me off the ledge every time I wanted to.
Because I've been there. I've been to soccer games. I've been to basketball games, and I'm not sitting. Unlike my mother, I'm not sitting close to the court because I don't want to be that parent. I'm sitting when my daughter was playing soccer. I'm as far away from the field as I can see because I don't want to be close enough where she can see me, but far enough away where I ain't involved in it. And I don't want to be a part of that. And then when she plays basketball, I sit further up away from the court where she can still see me, but further enough away where I'm not a part of the action. So you know what it is. Mm-hmm.
All right. So today is a bit of it's not a bit, it's an anniversary.
Yep. What's going on?
I'm going to move out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can see mine. You can see that one.
Yep.
15 years ago today,
Kobe
won the 5th and unfortunately final championship of his Lakers run. What are your thoughts when you think back about Kobe, about the run, 15 years ago seems like it was so long ago, but it seems like, but it wasn't, you know what I mean? I feel like it was yesterday. I feel like Kobe was playing 2 years ago.
I literally remember this game 7. And so be clear, guys, they were down in this series 3-2. They came back to Los Angeles down 3-2. The Celtics had beaten them in game 5. So the Celtics are up. They come to Los Angeles, and if they lose game 6, series is over. And he loses to the Celtics not once. He loses to them twice. And we don't in his illustrious words, no, that cannot happen. So they end up beating him in game 7. What I vividly remember is I remember him not shooting the ball well, but recognizing, all right, we're not gonna win if I keep doing this. If so, I got to do something else in order for us to have a chance to win. I got to do something else. So he stuck his nose in there and went and got 15 rebounds. In addition to what Pau Gasol did, yeah, I can appreciate Kendrick Perkins getting hurt. Yeah, I think the series would have been, I think the series would have been different. But the fact that Bryant recognized that, yo, we're not going to win if I keep doing this. So I got to do something else. And he did that. He got on the defensive end. He got on the glass. He made free throws he made free throws at the end of the game. That was big time, man. I think it's a testament to who he was and the kind of player that he was, who would do the necessary things in order for us to win. Yes, he had some tendencies where it may have looked a little bit different for other people, where it could have been, in some people's eyes, selfish. But all great players were selfish in a lot of instances. But in that particular case, he wasn't. In order for us to win this game, I got to do something different, and he did that, and he won. That was big time.
And let's remember that was that was low. Wasn't it like a 82, 83, 70, 78, 79? Like that was a low scoring game. And I want to say he had 15, and didn't Gasol had 17 or 18? Like combined, they had 30 something rebounds, the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were doing, like, it didn't matter. They're like, we're winning this. And I always struggle because people always talk about selfishness and inefficiencies and those types of things. And I always say, like, there's different kinds of inefficient. Kobe did what he needed to do, or what he thought he needed to do, or what he was told he needed to do. And people don't understand the game plan of things. Like I look at Kobe, I talk about Iverson, and it's like they were asked to do something that honestly is impossible to do. They were asked to carry an offense. Kobe specifically was asked to run an offense and throw it on his back. But because people say, oh, the triangle offense. Do you know what made the triangle offense special? It was that when it worked, and it only worked 2 times, when it worked because it had Kobe and because it had Jordan. And what I mean by that is, and if you know how it runs, it's complicated.
Yes,
but
it's not
at
easy.
The tail end of it, it was always read and react. Oh, we have 5 seconds left. Oh, shoot, what are we going to do? And then it became, hey, Kobe, Jordan, you have 5 seconds, figure it out. Well, yeah. People will say they jacked up shots. Well, you know what? Let me give you the ball against an NBA defense with 5 seconds left, and you figure it out. Let's see how well you shoot. So that's not excusing, because there's also a lot of F you guys. I'm taking it 1-on-5. I appreciate that. But it was always like I challenge you to do that as well, right? Like I'm not letting them off the hook, but at the same time, understand what these guys were asked to do and look at the flow. Look at how many times it wasn't 22 seconds on. Like they think dribbling up and shooting a 3 with 20 seconds left on the clock. Right. Oh, that's good. But hey, let's run through our offense, and now there's 3 seconds left. I got to put up a shot is bad. And I'm like, no, that's not. You have to understand the dynamic of what's going on with. So yes, Kobe's my second favorite player of all time. Sometimes he's first. Let's be honest. I flip-flop him in Magic, but it's always been Magic, so I'll stick with Magic.
I just think that with Bryant, he knew when to do it. He knew when not to do it. And because he knew when to do it and when not to do it, other people thought that he should have done it this time, and he didn't. And other people thought that he shouldn't have done it that time, and he did. So there was this dichotomy between the two. However, he was so good at, one, recognizing and understanding the game. He was so good in terms of a skill set in the triangle that it just looked so much better than everybody else. And it was so conducive to his game, which is why in that game 7 today, 15 years ago, which is why it worked, because Derek Fisher was able to get good shots because the defense keyed a lot on Bryant.
Sure.
That's why Pau Gasol went almost 20 and 20 that game, because the defense was keyed on Bryant. So because of that, right? So because of that, I think that's what made him great. That's what made him so awesome. So I can honestly say, I can honestly say that I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed Bryant being in the league. And today, 15 years ago, I was so happy to see them beat the Celtics. I just was. I was so charged to see them beat the Celtics, because I'm with the only reason why it was kind of like the Bad Boys, though. The only reason why I watched the Celtics was because of Bird. I couldn't stand them dudes neither. I couldn't.
I've never.
I would be lying if I said I dug the. I'd be lying if I said I started digging. I started digging Mikal more and more when I recognized how good he was. I dug Robert Parrish, but for the most part, I couldn't stand the Celtics.
Hate them all. Hate everyone who played there, plays there, playing there. Them.
So to watch the Lakers beat them and to watch Bryant go off on them, and not to have that on his resume that I didn't lose to the Celtics. Well, I beat them. So you can't put that on me. We did beat them. That was big time.
I want green in my bank, not in my jersey. Yes. I hate everything about the Celtics, but it's just, people will look at they won't go watch the game, which is sad. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, he shot 25%, he sucks. No, like, because if it was your player, if it was your guy, you'd go watch the game and say, yeah, but look at all these other things he did. And that's important. Now, if he had shot 25%, had 0 rebounds, 0 assists, minus 25, blah, 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 no, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Okay. You can say, hey, he choked, he and they lost, he choked. Sure. But when you see, like, okay, he's having a bad shooting game, but he's still, like, you got to look at holistically that picture. Yep. And then I'll look and say, if he doesn't do those other things, if he doesn't crash the boards, because it's not like
they don't win, Tone. They don't.
They don't. They don't. Like,
they don't win that game.
He realized, like, I feel, again, I have to go watch the game to be precise, but I feel like he didn't shoot a lot in the fourth quarter. He wasn't shooting well in the fourth quarter anyways. I think he went, like, I want to say 1 of 3, but for him to take only 3 or 4 shots in the fourth quarter tells you, like, okay, I'm doing something else now, right? Like, so he was doing other things. And I think that's important for every player, because people are saying, do you hold everybody? Yes, I hold everybody to the same standard. The thing about Kobe that drives me nuts, however, because you had said, like, he knows the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do, and, like, kind of when to do them, but not always. Because one of his greatest strengths was also one of his greatest flaws. It was his competitiveness and his drive. And he's like, if you're not working as hard as me, you don't deserve the ball. And he's like, okay, so what are the me shooting over a triple team or Smush Parker, an open jumper,
wide open,
I still have the better chance of making it. I'm that much better than you. Mm-hmm. And that's good and it's bad, right? Like, I've forever said, not to make this about LeBron, but I've often said LeBron sometimes gets away with doing what Kobe described, and I learned this from Kobe in one of those details. Remember, he used to do those details, where he said the one thing I'd change about LeBron is that he'll drive straight into that triple team, right? Knowing that that's what they're going to do, that all collapse, right? And he'll then put the ball into someone else's hands, which is, in that instance, the right basketball play, and leave it to a lesser player to shoot. He goes, however, if I could change anything about LeBron's game, he said, instead of driving straight into those 3 players, I would get a better angle, go to the elbow where I'd have a 1-on-1 or 1-on-2, and then because of my athleticism, jump. I could jump and shoot over them, right? Because he's not gonna. Very few people are gonna jump with LeBron at the elbow and block his shot. And now it's on you, the best player in the world, to make that shot and win it. And he goes, I would prefer if he did that. And that was his mentality. I'd rather hit the elbow and have 1 or 2 guys that I got to shoot over versus force that. And, there's good and there's bad to that, right?
It is. It 100% is good.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's just a difference in philosophy.
Sure.
And for us who grew up, watching, I grew up watching Magic. So I'm like, driving in and getting everybody to collapse on you, you kick it out to one of your, makes a lot of sense to me. The guys who, Jordan, they're like, nah, you hit that elbow and and you jump over them.
Especially
And
guys that you could trust too. I mean, it just not only does it look better, it gives so much more confidence to your group when you do that. But as the star,
you get killed.
that's what I'm saying. And as the and as the star, you expect me to thrive in those moments. You expect me to get to that 16-foot spot on the elbow. And even if it's two guys there, I'm going to jump over to both of you guys.
Shoot over those two, no problem.
And I'm going to knock this down. However, if we're losing, it looks bad because, okay, you're being selfish. But that's part of being a star. Part of being a star is I have to take matters into my own hands because contrary to popular belief, guys, as good as a team as we are, some of these guys don't want to do this. That's why I'm the guy. That's why I shoot the basketball at the wing. That's why I'll take the ball to the rim. Because as good as some of these guys are, they don't want the ball. That's why you're here. There's plenty of times when Kobe has thrown the ball into the big fat, not just Gasol, but he threw it into Andrew Bynum. And Andrew Bynum would throw it right back to him. Like, that ain't my job. Not this time of the game. This is your job.
Right.
You finish it. This is what you do.
I think about this. If he goes, because in that game, I think he went 6 of 24. Right? If he goes 6 of 24, he's selfish and inefficient and whatever. However, if he goes
3 for 9,
4 of 8 in the game, why didn't he shoot enough? Why was he playing so passive? In both cases, let's say they lose. If he goes 6 of 24, bad shooting, inefficient. If he only takes 7 or 8 shots, they're like, oh, why was he playing so passive? He gave up on his team. Like, they can't win. They can't win. They can't win. So, I do want to answer this question because I do get it a lot. So Magic 1, Kobe 2, and my absolute all-time favorite college player of all time comes in at number 3. I was so happy when they drafted him. James Worthy's number 3.
Big game James.
People don't give enough love to James Worthy. What do we got? We got so much to talk about. I don't know where I want to start though. You know what? We have a lot on this. So let's start here. There's going to be some movement, I think, this summer. And I believe Phoenix has told Kevin Durant, under no circumstances will you be playing for us next year. And so the first rumor is, because there's a few, so we're going to go through all of them. The first rumor is Kevin Durant reuniting with Russell Westbrook in Miami, because Miami, let's be honest, Miami, I know you like their young players. I think they're a dumpster fire. This is the rumor. What are your thoughts on a reunited KD Westbrook in Miami?
Tone, I don't really know how to feel about this, to be honest with you, because on the one hand, like, this actually looks really good. Like, I like what I actually like what it looks like, even though it everything about it says to me you're getting bounced in round 1. Everything about it says that to me.
Oh, but no, this is a team that doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, either you're missing the playoffs or you're getting bounced in round 1. Bounced. But from the look of it, it actually they look good in Miami Heat jerseys.
Sure,
but that's not my issue.
2015.
That's my issue right there, Tone. I personally, and I'm in the minority, I don't think KD deserves Russ. I don't think he deserves him back. I don't. I don't want him playing with Russ off the strength of how he did him years ago. And I know it's been a decade, and I know that it's time to move on, which I have. But for how he did Russ, and for us to come back, because if you're getting KD, you're getting a hired gun, and you're getting a hired gun to win it. You ain't getting a hired gun just to be good. You're not getting a hired gun to just make the playoffs. You're getting a hired gun to win it. Russell Westbrook is going to be 37. He's going to be 37 on open night. KD is going to be 37 on opening night. So these two guys are past what they used to be. At least Russ is. KD still is 22 to 25 a night. But what they would have to give up, I don't think it's worth KD, but Phoenix is in a space right now where they don't really have much of a choice because they're not in the catbird seat. KD is coming off the books after this year. So,
but there's a question. What would Miami have to give up to make this happen?
Okay, so KD is on the books for $54 million. Got to make the money match because of the second apron. In addition to that, Tyler Hero's making $30 million. I think Bam's making $42 million. We got Khalil Ware on a Rook deal, who, by the way, is off the table. I'm not interested in handing over Khalil Ware for Kevin Durant. I'm not doing that. That's my starting 5-man for the next
Here we
years.
go.
No, I'm not doing that, Tone. Nope, I'm not. I'm not handing over Khalil Ware. And the reason why I'm not handing over Khalil Ware is because I know that we live in a time of parity, and I know that one move could push us over the top. I get that part, Tone. I don't think it's KD.
Especially in the East.
I don't think it's KD though. I don't. I don't.
No, I listen.
I don't think it's KD.
I get a lot of I get a lot of grief for saying the truth about KD, that he's a bit of a fraud. He's definitely overrated, and people never take the time to sit down and have the conversation with me. They just immediately, Fluent, man, Fluent, man. Right? No. Hear me out. Kevin Durant is, when I say overrated and a bit of a fraud, I'm saying in the sense that we want to put him in the upper echelon of players, and people do say he's a top 10 player all time. Mm-hmm. And they only say that because they love scoring. And is he a top 10 scorer of all time? 100%. Mm-hmm. However, he is the definition of a mercenary. If you have a team that is well balanced, really good defensively, shares the ball, and you plop him in, Warriors, to that team, statistically, he might look like the best player, but he's not. But he will take that team and make them, much like the Warriors, almost unstoppable, if not unstoppable. I'll say almost, because I think that they were taken to deep into game 6 or 7 there in one of those runs, right? Barring injuries, of course. So that's what I mean by it. He's not a guy that you can just take and put on a team and now say, okay, now that team's going to have a deep playoff run. Because now, Brooklyn, maybe there was injuries. Didn't work in Phoenix, right? OKC, they were young, and they did go to the finals, and they did have some deep playoff runs. But let's not forget, they also had an incredible roster. An incredibly balanced roster. They had offense, they had defense, they had passing. Like that roster, oh my God. It's kind of like how you feel about OKC today. It's like, I wish they keep these guys together for 3-4 years and see what they can do. But like, is there a team where if he went on and was the clear cut, and I had this debate the other day, and I'll share you the list, and I'll tell you what. If you put him on any roster, does that roster automatically become a title contender? Right? Which is the 3 or 4 or 5 people that you would consider a superstar. Yeah. If any roster, if you could put him on any roster, say, they're going to have a deep playoff run. If the answer is no, that's okay. It doesn't mean he's a bad player. It just means I don't have him as a top 10 greatest, superstar. Put him on any team. And
we'll run it down, Tone. If he's in Cleveland, what happens? Like take.
Again, depends. If he goes in for Donovan Mitchell, I think that team's an automatic contender. But that's because it has rebounding, defense. It has all those other things. That's a great spot for him. This currently constructed Boston team with Jason Tatum out of the lineup. So Jason Tatum is out of the lineup. Enter Kevin Durant. What does this crew look like? If he replaces Tatum,
Jason Tatum,
and everybody else is healthy. Again, they have the deepest roster, and they have a legit score. They are a contender, and that's not. I'm not comparing him to Jason Tatum, saying which one's better or worse. What I'm saying is that's a great roster. So 100%, they're going deep.
Take OG Anunoby off the Knicks and into Kevin Durant. What do they look like?
Eastern Conference Final losers.
Eastern Conference, because
I think they'll get the scoring, but they'll lose and then you'll have 3 defensive liabilities.
I don't think KD's a defensive liability, but I definitely think Cat and Brunson are. But I think KD's going to have to make up for a lot of that, and I don't think he can.
I don't think that's.
And I don't think he can.
That's what I'm saying. He can't make up for their lack of defense where OG Anunoby could. Now he doesn't give him the offense, so you're hoping that they're all on, they hit their shots, and they outscore the other team. Well, we saw how that worked every other time they've tried that with Kevin Durant. That doesn't show me when that worked in today's NBA, where a team no defense and they just outscored the other guys.
It has not. You can't. But that's why teams like Phoenix and the 7 seconds or less offense, like I can't hit you more than I could stop you from hitting me. You got to be able to get stops.
Listen, the Bucks, right, tried that. They gave up on their defense. They brought in Dame, and they're like, okay, we're going to just outscore teams. Now, okay, there were some injuries that they dealt with too, but for the most part, even if they didn't, let's be honest, even if they were healthy, they weren't going anywhere.
So okay. I'm thinking about Indiana. Take Siakam out of that lineup, Tone, and put KD in it. Or actually keep Siakam in that lineup. Take Neesmith out of that lineup and put KD in it.
Well, of course, then that's a huge upgrade.
Sure, 100% it is.
So you're picking the teams that have great roster. What about all the other teams?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, take Kuzma out of the lineup and put KD in there. And now I got Giannis and KD.
No. That actually I like.
Here's why.
If you replace Dame with a perimeter defender, then I like it even more.
If you could replace him with a perimeter defender, like get Drew Holiday back. How about that? Like if you got Drew Holiday back, that may work. Now, if you in Detroit take Tobias Harris out of that lineup and put KD in there.
Sorry, which one?
Take Tobias Harris out the lineup and put KD in there. Now, the thing I'm thinking about,
I struggle with that one because will he mess up what they got going?
Well, here's the thing, Tone. If you think about,
we're talking about KD now, right? We're not saying
KD at 30. He's going to be 37 on opening night. We're in the 25-26 season. So the Detroit Pistons, in terms of buckets, they get their buckets from Cade. He's their leading scorer. Yeah. After him, it's Beasley. And then after Beasley, it's Tobias Harris, right? And it's Ivy. Kids, it's guys like that. Well, I can get 22 to 25 out of KD.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate.
I have to stop and think about it, but I don't hate that one.
I actually like him in Detroit. I 100% do like him in Detroit. What happened? And to your point, what happens in the Eastern Conference with him on that crew?
And that's the other thing. We're also talking about when you're saying an Eastern Conference team.
Yes, sir.
You've got a Cavs team that you don't know. There's a lot of question marks there. They do well in the regular season, but you've got a Boston team that's kind of done next season at least, right? So there's a lot of, when you know that the number 1 seed is question mark. Yep. You know that the number, I believe, 2 seed Boston is out. So now it opens it right out. Indiana, are they going to bring everybody back? Is there going to, now, sometimes you have that finals loss hangover. So do they come back hungry, or do they come back do they lose? Like Miles, I don't think Miles Turner's going there, but does Miles Turner leaving free agency? Does somebody else get, does Siakam and Halliburton have a beef because Halliburton thought he should have been the Eastern Conference MVP?
No, I'm not concerned with that.
I am. Did you not see him step up ready to accept this award?
Well, he was wrong, and I don't think that he's got a problem with Siakam. Nah, because they ain't winning it without Siakam, just like they ain't winning it without him. But that's not Siakam's problem. But
I understand, but there's egos there. Come on.
I do get that. I do get that part, but
trust me, if there was no egos, Shaq and Kobe would have won 10 chips with the Lakers.
But I still think that I still think that those two aren't worried about that in particular.
Okay.
And I think that they got there. I think that they got there specifically to get to where they are now. Now, we're going to talk about the finals in a little bit, but I don't think that that's an issue. And okay. I'll say it to you right here, Tone. Like we talk about the Eastern Conference. If you look at the landscape of it, I think the Cavs win an NBA championship next year. I'm saying it.
And listen, I'll say you're consistent, because for everyone who thought that this was their year, last year you did say it was 2 years away, which would be next year. So you've been consistent.
I had them in the East Finals this year. This is as far as I had them going. Next year, I think they win the NBA championship.
I think they implode.
Now, I tell you what, Tone, if that happens, if I get a Philadelphia situation, or I get them,
I'll let you know after the offseason happens.
Yes.
But right now, my initial reaction over the summer is your 2 favorite teams, the Cavs and the Rockets, are heading for disaster.
If that happens, then
that's my crystal. What do they call these things? Hourglass. That's my crystal hourglass prediction.
Answer this one, Tone. I don't know who you take out of that lineup in Orlando.
No, see, they're not contenders. I don't care who you put in.
So with this, because this is the 5. I got Suggs at the 1. I got Bane at the 2.
We got to
Paolo.
talk about that too in a second, but go ahead.
I got Suggs. I got Bane. Who is their 3-man? Because I got Franz. I got Paolo. I don't. Why am I leaving somebody? Oh, that's their 3-man. Paolo is their 3-man. Franz is their 4, and Wendell Carter is their 5. So who am I taking out of that? Who am I taking out of that lineup?
That roster, right? You got to get rid of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who am I taking out of that lineup for KD? At that
Here's the
particular
problem.
Because I'm not taking out Paolo. I'm not.
That's the only one I'll trade him for.
Wow, because I love Paolo.
Maybe Franz. Maybe Franz and a bunch of draft picks. But
they have a conversation about Franz.
But they don't have. Here's the problem. They gave up 5. I'll say it again for the people in the cheap seats. 4 first round. My apologies.
And a swap.
4 first round unprotected.
Yes, and a swap. Mm-hmm.
If they lose Banchero for any reason, those could be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5 picks. Those 4 unprotected first and a swap. Mm-hmm. That is crazy. And the reason I was thinking 5 was because the Knicks gave up 5 for Mikal Bridges. I'm not understanding. They're throwing away first round picks like they're nothing.
You're a businessman. This is the thing that I'm trying to make sense of with you, Tone. The Knicks had the 5th best record in the league. That's 26-30. That's what that pick is.
You know how much
care about that pick, Tone?
Years?
Okay, sure.
Change in 5 years?
100%. But as the GM, right? As the GM, I'm not thinking about 5 years, especially considering what the
Mikal Bridges was the piece to put you over the top.
See, that's the thing, Tone. I'm thinking about what the landscape is.
You think Desmond Bane is the piece that put you over the top?
Yeah, Tone, if I have a guy, if I have one guy who can change a series, think about this Orlando team.
Bane.
This is what I'm saying. Now, hear
what
me out,
they gave up for Bane is what you give up for Ja.
No, that's not,
yes.
Tone. Okay, think about this for a second. You just told me less than 10 minutes ago that what the Eastern Conference is now, how unpredictable the Eastern Conference is, and how wide open it is. Sure. So now I get my young star. You and I are at odds about Paolo. I think Paolo is a star. I think he can play. I think he can.
We're not at odds. I just think he's going to be a star. He's just not today.
And I think it's going to be faster than you think, Tone. Okay. So I think that I think he plays his way into the top 15 this season. This season, I think he plays himself into the top 15 players. With that being said, Paolo, Franz, I do think that they could have upgraded at the 5 spot with Wendell Carter, but goes back to my original theory about making these guys get better. Wendell Carter should be better. He needs to be a better defender. He needs to be a better rebounder. What was I missing, though? Because we have defense. They were top 5 defense for an extended part of the season. What am I missing? KCP wasn't the long ball shooter that we needed. Well, turns out Bane is. So now I got Bane who can stretch the defense, who can defend. I also got Suggs, who is a damn good point guard, all-league defender, who can also distribute, play at a high level, play at the nail, play pick and roll, play dribble handoff. I got Paolo, who's a lot better distributor than I think he is, gets downhill with the best of them. And I got some of the best rotation players in the game in Orlando and a damn good coach. And back to your point, the Eastern Conference with Jason Tatum getting hurt, Tone, what happened to the door? I think it just flew open. I don't think it was cracked.
I just don't think T-Rex Bane is the answer to.
And here's why I think he is, right? I think that he is the answer to them contending. I don't think he's the answer to them winning it, but I think he's the answer to them contending. Tone, you and I go back and forth plenty of times about how important luck is, how important things going your way is. Because sure, from a talent standpoint, if you look at this Orlando roster, okay, you might not be blown away like you are with Oklahoma City with the talent, right? You might not be blown away like you are with Boston with the talent. But I'll tell you what Indiana is doing and how they're winning basketball games, Orlando can do the same Orlando can have the same makeup. Instead of playing fast like Indiana does, what we're going to do is we're going to lock down. We're going to play defense. We're going to run our offense through our big in Paolo, and we're going to stretch the defense with both Bane and Franz. Franz is another one who's got to get better he's got to get better as a perimeter player and as a shooter. He's got to get better. No question about that. And we have to stay healthy, Tone, because that was one of the main reasons why we weren't where we could have been this season, because Paolo missed a real good chunk of the season. And then Franz got hurt. So I think that's one of the main reasons why. So those 5 picks, those 5 ones you're talking about, Tone, we can find ourselves in a space this year, this Eastern Conference, where we end up with the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed. That's the 28th, 29th, or the 30th pick.
Or you could end up with the 3rd pick and have to give it away. Because look
100%.
at Dallas. Dallas wasn't a bad team. Dallas had Luka, Kyrie. Like that team missed it by that much, and they won the lottery. Imagine Paulo misses a chunk, which is not wishing any ill will on him, but it happens. And they just miss out. And then they win the lottery like Dallas did, which Orlando has done multiple times. So it's not crazy to think they'll win the lottery unless you think it's fixed. But if you want to tell me it's not, imagine you have an opportunity to put a superstar caliber player, a number 1 overall pick next to Paulo, and instead you're giving that pick to Memphis for Desmond Bane.
Yes, sir. I am giving it.
I'm telling you right now, mark it down in your calendars, June 17th, 8:41 p.m. Eastern. One of those 5 picks, at least, is going to come back to bite Orlando in the butt. At least.
I think that, and to Tone's point, mark this down. I think that in the next 3 years, because I think that we've already seen the Paulo injury, the France injury, I think that they have better health next year.
Okay.
I think that the injury bug doesn't bite them as much as it did. And I think that they're a lot better. I think Orlando, and I'm saying it, Tone, I think they're a top 3 seed next year in the East.
That's not crazy.
I think that they're a top 3 seed
that's not
next year.
crazy because, like we've said, they were what this year?
5th.
5th? Yeah. So for them to go up to 3rd.
No, I'm sorry. They were 7th. I apologize. They were 7th.
7th.
Yeah, they were 7th.
Still,
yeah.
it was between 7 and 3 was how many?
That's where I had them at.
Yeah, 3 games, 4 games. Like
so
it wasn't a big gap.
Between they were the 7 seed, and they were the 7 seed and the 3 seed. It was a substantial gap between the 3 seed and the 7 seed. I'm sorry, the 5th seed and the 7 seed, it was about 7 games.
7 games. But you're taking out Boston.
Yep.
That moves them up to 6th right there.
100%.
Right? So there's and you take away those losses to Boston probably too, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's an opportunity. All right.
Yes.
We're going to stick on the KD thing for another because here's the second last scenario. The Raptors trade offer. This is a report. For Kevin Durant would feature RJ Barrett, your guy, IQ, no one's guy, Jakob Poeltl, which I don't know how that spells Jakob Poeltl, but whatever. And their 9th overall pick this year.
I think that's a lot for KD.
Okay, so I was gonna say, is that enough to get KD? You think it's a lot for KD?
Yeah, I think that's a haul for KD. Barrett, Emmanuel quickly. Tone, if I'm Phoenix, you've already made it clear to me. I'm not helping Phoenix do anything. I'm not.
This helps. I think this helps Phoenix a lot.
Right, it does. And what I'm thinking, if I'm Phoenix, because we already tried the win now thing, and we failed miserably.
Didn't work.
Right, we failed miserably. So I'm thinking we have to get with a team. I need my draft picks back, Tone, because I got to start over. I need my draft picks back. And who has my draft picks? Houston's got my draft picks. Brooklyn's got some draft picks. I'd like to get some of these. It's going to take 3 teams. I need at least 2 ones. I think I can get one of those picks back from Houston. If Brooklyn would give me one of those ones, that would be huge. Or even if Toronto, I could get involved with them. But the problem with Toronto is if I got involved with Toronto and I got involved with Houston, both of them are trading for KD. So Houston's not just going to give me a 1 and not KD be involved in it. Toronto's not going to give me a 1 and not get KD neither.
Of course.
So I'm trying to figure out, because I need draft picks. I'm trying to figure out who I can get involved with that can give me more than 1 draft pick. Because I need more than one.
Toronto has all their draft picks. So let me just maybe Toronto. This is just a rumor. Toronto might give up 3 first-round picks, 4 for. They've got all of their draft picks for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So they have their first-round draft picks, and by all accounts, even with Kevin Durant, they're going to be high. Now, the reason this is even a thing is because the Raptors are very vocal about their desire to make a splash this summer and bring in a superstar, and the 2 names were Giannis and KD. KD, for those that don't know, growing up in Washington, was a Raptor fan.
Huge Raptor fan. He loved
Right,
Vince
because
Carter.
he was a Vince Carter fan. Absolutely. Here's the problem. If this trade is made, you're going to have a starting lineup that consists of no center, because they obviously did have to make some other moves, but as of right now, they would have no center because Jakob Poeltl, who is probably a great backup center, let me not say great, a very good backup center, he's the only center on the team. You now also have a team that doesn't have a point guard. And you're going to start a combination of Brendan Ingram, which is Timu version of KD, who's 37-year-old version of KD, and Scotty Barnes.
Oh boy.
That team is going to stink.
And we won't have our draft pick neither, so we can get.
And you won't have your draft pick. So you're gonna have to figure out a way to play Grady Dick in there.
Oh boy.
And then it's
That's my starting two guard. That's my starting two guard right there, actually.
And then it's a bunch of question marks. So you're gonna have Timu KD, and Scotty Barnes, all guys who play like kind of the 3-4 spot in today's NBA.
And I gave Miami my point guard in Davion Mitchell, so I don't.
That I don't even understand at all.
Yeah, I gave Miami my point guard.
They got him. He was playing well, and it's going to be this team will be another. Everyone will hype it up, and then they don't make the playoffs. It's like, what happened?
They're going to be Philly.
No, more like Brian A. Brian A. nailed it. It'll be Phoenix 2.0.
No,
thank you, Brian. That's exactly what it would be. It'll be the new Booker, Beal, KD. No. It's going to be horrible. Now, can you assume that they're going to make a bunch of great picks and pick up a point guard and pick up a center and Sure, that's possible. Right? Other people will tell you, well, what if they get Giannis too?
No,
you're not. But that's how people make all these trades on 2K, and they get a team of like Luka at the 1, Ant at the 2,
KD at the 3, Giannis at the 4,
Jokic at the 5, and they're like, that's possible. No, it's not. It's not real. Although I'd be interested to see that team. So that's the Raptor thing. And I get it. You're trying to make a splash, but
you're trying to make a splash in a puddle, Tone. It's not like you're trying to make a splash in the ocean. You're trying to make a splash in a puddle. That's what you're trying to do, and it's not working.
There is a team, however, that he won't be playing for.
That is
presumably, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves, because apparently, according to Shams, I've been told Kevin Durant has no desire to play in Minnesota with the Timberwolves. Does he have a no trade clause?
He does not. It's only 2 guys in the league that have no trade clauses.
Then I don't care what he desires, but I find it interesting. Why do you think he doesn't want to play there? Is it too cold?
I think because it's Minnesota more than anything. I think because it's Minnesota, and I think that with Ant being up there, I don't think he wants to step on Ant's toes. I think that he wants Ant to cement his own legacy, and I don't think he wants to get involved in that. And even though, Tone, he's the one who's holding up the deal. Like if he said thumbs up to Minnesota, he'd be in Minnesota, but he's not interested in going up there. Yes, I think that if he went to
have a deal in place.
Yes, I think they have a deal because of all the teams, Miami, Minnesota, San Antonio, Toronto, the teams that I've heard, Minnesota seems to be the closest. And if he gave them a thumbs up to Minnesota, which
what would it be, like sign and trade Julius Randle and pieces?
Something to that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, something to that effect. But I don't think that he wants to step on what's going on with Ant. I think that we know who KD is.
He cares about anybody's toes.
I do, because if he didn't care, he would go to Minnesota.
I think he cares more about what they would say about him.
So if that's true, Tone, then why did he demand out in Brooklyn when he demanded when he was the one who went there in the first place? Why did he end up in Phoenix to put that crew together, which completely bombed? This is like a super group.
Yeah, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he demand to go to Phoenix?
Well, when he asked to be treated, when he asked out, that was the preferred destination.
Right, but he didn't say he didn't. I think
not many guys demand to go here. And
right, so that's what I'm saying. It's not like he left OKC and went and joined the Warriors, which he gets killed for to this day. I think if he found a way, or they found a way, and they moved him to Minnesota with Ant, with Gobert, with. I think there would be a big like, oh, here we go again. He needs to get carried by, and I think that's more of the reason. I think he made a huge mistake for his legacy. Smart basketball move. Made a huge mistake for his legacy going to the Warriors. And I've said this a million times before, and I think a bigger mistake leaving the Warriors. He should have gone to the Warriors, owned it, and stayed.
There was no reason to leave.
And said and put his middle finger up to the world and said, I don't care. I wanted to play with these dudes, and we're gonna run it back and win more and win more. And I'm gonna get healthy, and I'm gonna run it back and win more. And that's it. And I think that's what he should have done. And I would have been okay with that. I think ever since he left, he's been trying to prove I can be the guy. And to my point about him, not in a negative way, being kind of an overrated bit of a fraud, is that I don't think he's the number one. So let me give you the list that I was referring to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can find it quickly. But basically, someone said this list is.
And to your point, Tony,
yes. Oh, no.
If he wanted to win and continue to win, there was no reason to leave Golden State. He had rabbit ears. That's what the problem was. More than anything, he had rabbit ears. Because if you were leaving Golden State to get on a crew and show that you can win without these guys, why did you leave Oklahoma City in the first place? There was no reason to leave Oklahoma City. If that was the ultimate goal, to get the Golden State, and then ultimately leave there, because he had rabbit ears. That's why. I want to go show everybody that I can do this and be the man. Well, you were the man in Oklahoma City. You didn't have to leave Oklahoma City. You didn't have to leave Russ. You didn't have to leave Ibaka.
No.
You didn't have to leave Steven Adams. You had to leave none of them dudes. So you got on this Golden State team and you won. To your point, Tone, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to spend a decade here and we're going to figure this thing out. And every year we're going to be in the finals. And if we're not in the finals, we're going to be close to it. If we're not winning the NBA championship, we're going to be close to it every year.
I promise this list exists.
Yep.
I promise. Here we go. So here's the list. So I was told these are the only superstars in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, SGA, Luka, Tatum, Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Steph Curry. And I replied, your list is too long. And I got a lot of why. And why I say it is, can Nikola Jokic be the clear-cut number one on a championship contending team?
Yes.
He's a superstar. Is Giannis Antetokounmpo, can he be the clear-cut number one on a championship contending team?
Yes.
He's done it. So we can't. Can SGA?
Yes.
It depends on what you think of J-Dub, but I think most people would say SGA is still the more complete player, and we'll get to that.
He's the man on that crew.
Yeah.
As good as J-Dub is, I think we can recognize SGA is the man on that crew.
Can Luka?
We don't know yet.
Although he did well last year, you could say
he did take a team to the NBA championship. So yes, I can get us there.
Yeah,
winning it, that's different.
I'm actually okay with those first five. There's some question marks, but I'm okay with those first. Here's where you got to start asking the tough questions. Can Jason Tatum?
Yes,
but we don't. You think, but we don't know, because I don't think he's the clear-cut number one with Jaylen Brown.
I led us in every major statistical category. I did that. That's the man on the crew, and it's and not only did I did that all season long too. As the best player on this team, I became a first-team All-Pro because
I'm not going to argue, because I know how you feel about Tatum, so I don't want to get in that argument, even though I disagree. Okay, Victor, I'm just saying it's too early to say that.
I think Victor Wembanyama, and I'm on record saying this, Tone, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that Vic is a guy very much like you talked about with Paolo and what you think he's going to be. I think people want Vic to be that right now.
Right. And all I'm saying is he's not that right now.
They want him to be. I think he's going to be that.
I'm just saying he's not there today.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. I think the answer is no. I don't think he can be the clear-cut number one on a championship contending team today.
I think that he will be in that Dallas uniform. I think he'll be the guy, the clear-cut guy on that Dallas team.
We'll see.
Now don't get me wrong, Tone. They've changed the dynamic of the team. So it's not Luka averaging 35, 9 and 9. It's not SG leading the league in scoring. No, I think that they're more of a defensive unit, and I think that their team is built around a defensive player who can score, which is Anthony Davis.
Okay.
That's what I think what I think they have.
I think the answer is no. Donovan Mitchell, I think it's no. You think yes, I'm assuming because you have him as the best shooting guard in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a no. Anthony Edwards. I still think it's too early. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be a weird situation where he's going to mature and have that success later.
Well, I'm on record, Tone, saying I think he's going to be the best guard in the league. And within 5 years, he's going to be the best guard in the league. To your point, today, can he be the clear-cut number? Well, he's the best player on that Minnesota team.
Sure.
They were in the Western Conference Championship. Are they championship contenders? I'm not sure that they're there yet.
And that's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. Me saying someone's not a superstar is just my definition of superstar, because people say, the best player on every team is a superstar. So there's 30 of them. And I don't agree.
LaMelo Ball is not a superstar. No,
exactly. Jalen Brunson. Well, I think they said it best. He's too little. If that's your best player, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can he get us there? Well, he proved, I think it was proven this year that he couldn't. And there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of holes in his game defensively. And I don't think his offense makes up for it. So to answer your question, no, Tone.
He's the reason they didn't make the NBA final. Halliburton. Is he even the clear-cut number one on their team?
No. He's not he is the number one, but I don't think he's the clear-cut number one. No.
And yes, by my definition, well, let's get to it. So then Steph.
Well, Steph proved that he could do that. He did that in
and he's still doing it.
And he did it in 22. I think those days are over, Tone. No. But I think Steph
not that far removed. 2022 is not that
far.
Sure.
No doubt about that. But I think the difference is Steph already has that superstar tag. So I think that for as long as he's in the league, he's going to be a superstar.
Right. And that's where we of course differ, because someone just asked the question, well, then by my definition, Steph and LeBron are no longer superstars. And I say the caveat that I say is yes, but it's because I'm defining as today they're not playing to the superstar caliber level, meaning they can't be the clear-cut number one that takes a team to the finals. And that's my definition. It doesn't mean it's right or it's wrong. It's just,
wait a minute, Tone. In 1985, Jabbar was still a superstar.
No, he wasn't.
Even though he was old, and even though they still got the NBA
2001, was Michael Jordan still a superstar playing?
So when Jordan came back to the league, was he still a superstar?
With the Wizards, no.
I think he was like Curry. He's always going to have that tag. Yes.
Of course, yeah. He'll always have that tag. I'm not taking the tag away. What I'm saying is he's not playing at a superstar level caliber anymore.
Now, to your definition,
if he was playing, they would have made the playoffs.
No, well, that was a bad team, Tone.
It doesn't matter. That's my point. That's my point. Is a superstar is to be a superstar by my
by in your estimation.
You have to be that good that you can take that team into deep playoff runs and be a title contender.
So was Brian a superstar in 05?
Was Bryant a superstar in 05? Yeah, again, yes, he was. Yes, he was a superstar, but was he playing at a superstar level that was able to take his team as bad as he was?
Okay, those two things are different, Tom.
They're different. Absolutely.
Those two things are different. So
exactly.
Jordan was a superstar.
They'll always be superstars. Yes, they'll 100%. Always be. They'll always have that. They'll be able to wear that medallion of superstar. What I'm saying is, What I'm saying is on a year to year basis, there's not 25 superstars, and it's not once a superstar, always a superstar in terms of this year. Who are the, like, if you were to say who's a superstar right now this year, if nothing else they ever did mattered, right now this year, who's going to take their team deep? That's what I'm saying is you can have a 20-year career and not be a superstar playing at a superstar level every single one of those years.
Or I can also be playing at a superstar level and not be a superstar. Jimmy Butler's a prime example of that.
100%.
Jimmy Butler is a prime example of that. So I mean, I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. It's slippery because I also don't like the other. I do this to purposely over here because I hate the ones over here that is just like, well, Scotty Barnes is a superstar. LaMelo Ball's a superstar. Who's the best player on the Bulls? Lonzo's a superstar. I'm trying to think of other on Washington. I guess Jordan Poole would be a superstar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not it. That's not it.
Is Bam a superstar?
Right? Is Trae Young that's a great one. Is Trae Young a superstar? I don't think so. I think he's statistically fantastic. I think he's an excellent, super player, but he hasn't shown that he can take his team. Now, okay, are there going to be some exceptions where you have such a great player that is on such a bad roster? Sure. And those are conversations then we can have, right? Like, to your point, I know you were thinking when Kobe had Smush and Chris Mim, right? Okay, sure. No one's winning with those guys. I get it. So
he took them to the playoffs.
I'm saying those are those situations. I hope, are exceptions to the rule. I would hate for players that good to be stuck on teams that bad for too long. Like, that's
why he demanded to be traded.
That's
y'all not gonna waste my prime years. Y'all not. I don't care that it's 75 degrees in January. You're not wasting my prime years. No, I'm out of here. I don't want nothing else to do with this.
So speaking of superstars, let's talk about someone who 1,000 million quadrillion % is not a superstar. And I'm so sick of overhyping this dude. And I know I'm going to get hate for this because it's my own team. But, like, I'd love this guy come and be my sixth man. He can't be my starting shooting guard.
Is this who you... Oh, man, Tone, I love this guy.
I want to be in LA. Of course you do. Of course you do. I want to play my whole career in LA, as you should. I love it there. I love the fans, love the weather, love the golf. He's already lost me. With I love the weather and I love the golf. And obviously the Lakers. Now this I can't disagree with. And obviously the Lakers is the best organization in basketball. That's facts.
It goes without saying, Tone. Like, I don't even have to mention that part. I'm talking about the other. I love living in Los Angeles. I love the people here. I love the weather. I love golf. Like, I can't. I like to say that.
I really don't. Honestly, the weather and golf part bothers me.
Tone, I don't have to say I love where I work. You already know that. I love working here. This is a great organization to work for.
Team.
No doubt about that. Playing for the Lakers, that's the creme de la creme. It's like playing for the Yankees, right? It's like playing for whomever in the NFL. It's like playing for the 49ers. It's like playing for a team like that. It's like playing for the creme de la creme in pro football, in pro baseball, the Yankees or the Dodgers. Playing for the Lakers. That's what it's like playing for them. So I don't have to mention that it's the best organization. I don't have to talk about that. I'm talking about just wanting to be here. Now, let's be clear. In the end, Tony, you're a businessman. You can appreciate this. And I do work here. That's really what it is.
What else is he gonna say?
Right. I do, exactly. I do work here. So with that being said, and you're a Laker guy, Tone, you and me are at odds with this. I love this guy. I love this.
Let's be clear. I love him too. But I'm a Laker fan. I'm not a delusional Laker fan.
Sure.
I can't look at this roster and say, well, if I've got 97-year-old LeBron, okay, Luka and Reeves, championship, like, that's just no. So if someone comes knocking and says, hey, we're going to give you a big that you so desperately need, but it's going to cost you more than Dalton Connect, it's going to cost you Austin Reeves, I'm like, hell yeah. If they're saying, hey, we're going to get you a perimeter defensive a perimeter defensive player to be your starting 2, and we're going to move Reeves to the bench, I would be very, very happy.
If Washington said, if Washington said we'll hand over the rook Alex Sarr for Austin Reeves, are you doing that?
Yes.
I'm 100% doing that.
100%.
I'm 100% doing
Now,
that.
would I prefer that we sign Naz Reid and not have to give up anybody? Sure. But it's just, when I think about teams that have won NBA championships, Austin Reeves being a starter is a tough sell for me. It's a tough. Who defends on the perimeter?
Okay.
Who's going to cover up Luka's mistakes?
Well, it's not going to be Austin Reeves. We know that. But
then when they get by those guys, who's behind them to clean up their mistakes?
It was James at the 5.
Well, he's 97. He can't do that.
That was our rim protection. It was James at the 5.
Like if you're relying on if 40-year-old LeBron James can play the 5 and be the defensive anchor that leads the Lakers to an NBA championship, you will hear me screaming from the rafters that he is the greatest basketball player in the history of basketball, and there isn't a debate, and go talk to your mama if you disagree. But I know in reality that's not going to happen.
It isn't. Because
they got 5 gamed in the first round.
Okay, let me ask you this, Tone.
Trying to play that way.
If we had the right pieces around, if we had the right pieces around him, right? I feel like, again, this goes back to the original logic of there being some things that go your way. How far apart is Austin Reeves and J.R. Smith? How far apart are they, in your estimation? This is Austin Reeves. This is J.R. Smith. How far apart are they, Tone?
I in terms of complete basketball players,
how far apart are they?
Is it crazy for me to say I prefer Austin Reeves?
Okay, so you think Austin Reeves
because of the mentality?
Okay, he's smarter. All right, now how far apart are Austin Reeves and John Starks?
Oh, I'm taking John Starks.
Okay, so and when you say you're taking John, like, where's the gap between these two?
The gap is bigger than it would seem because of the defensive intensity.
And John was good enough because he had Ewing and he had that team that was
built around. And you're right. Is there a scenario? Is there a scenario where he could be your starting 2 guard? Sure. Right. Yeah. Whereas you got Luke at the 1, him at the 2, a defensive juggernaut at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and a shot blocking defensive player of the year candidate at the 5. Okay, fine.
Yep.
But where are you going to get those 2 guys? And because you can't just snap your fingers and get those 2 guys, the odd man out is going to be Reeves because you're not getting rid of Luka or LeBron. So Reeves is just the guy.
So Tone, okay, so with Reeves, because I know how you feel about him, you love him more, because I feel the same way about Tyler Hero. I've always thought Tyler Hero's a great Manu Ginobili, Vinny Johnson.
Tyler Hero and Austin Reeves should be fighting for 6th man of the year every year.
That's how I feel about
on a championship contending team. 100%.
That's 100% how I feel about Tyler Hero. You as a Laker guy, Tone, what is priority number 1 in this offseason?
A big. Actually, multiple. Get 2, get 3, get 4. I don't care.
To be quite honest with you, I'm not concerned with James. I'm not concerned with Luka. I'm not concerned with Austin Reeves. At the top of our list is getting a big guy. Yeah. And I don't know if you got a draft pick. I'm not sure if you have a draft pick.
Yeah, we got a draft pick.
So you do have a draft pick. I think that's priority number 1. Of all the things that you have to do, we have to start with getting a 5-man. Once upon
a time, the big man. Look, they're asked to do more nowadays, but just think about this. Look at the championship teams, the ones that won multiple championships. They would have 18 to 24 fouls out of 3 or 4 legit 7-footers.
Yep.
In today's NBA, it's not that different. I think you need those 3 7-footers who can rebound, block shots, alter shots, get some hard. I think we're going back a little bit, not too far. We're not, don't get me wrong, but I think we're going back a little bit to where those guys can have a role, and you're going to want a Steven Adams, type of guy on your team.
Yep.
And they're out there. They're out there, right? We started to fade away from them and say we don't care about you anymore. But now it's like, actually, on second thought, maybe come back for a little bit.
Shaq got guys like Lawrence Funderburk and Scott Pollard.
Yeah.
He got those guys jobs for a long time. They were able to play for a long, just off the strength of what Shaq was, right? Just because who Shaq was, he got guys like Biamute in Portland, Ruben Biamute, guys like that to play for a long time, because we need bodies. We need dudes just to foul. That's all we need.
Especially in the West, because you have teams that had, that have a, listen, I don't want to say you're not worried about Gobert on the offensive end.
Yeah.
However, you're not game planning for his offense, but you do need a guy who can put a body on him to make what he does, rebound and block shots, more difficult. It's harder to block a shot when you have a 7 foot, 280-pound dude trying to box you out or setting a screen on you. Like, it makes the difference. And so, like, I think back to like the 90s Bulls. If you think about it, none of these got names I'm going to say will blow your mind, right? But they always had Luke Longley, Bill Wennington, Will Perdue, right? They had these big 7-footer guys that you're like, what is their job? That's their job, is to take up space, because when they take up that space, when they set that screen, when Will Perdue hits the high post,
yep,
no one's giving Will Perdue any love. But when Will Perdue puts his 7-foot frame at the high post, and now Jordan runs off a screen, and whoever's guarding him, John Starks, Gary Payton, whatever, and they hit that 7-foot, 250-pound Bill Cartwright, hit one of those guys, you get that much space. And guess what? If you've got a Luka, a LeBron, an Austin Reeves, a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, an Ant, and they can get that much space, you're cooked. That's all they need, is that much space. And I think the NBA went away from it because we have so many great skilled players. That's like, well, if we have 5 guys who can all dribble and can all shoot and can all pass, we're great. And then they're like, oops, I think we made a mistake, because someone's got to set a screen for these motherfuckers, because we got defenders too who can move with them. And so,
we got a bunch of piano players. Who's carrying the piano up the stairs?
Right.
Who's doing that? So we got a bunch of lead singers. Who's in the background? Nobody's doing that, and that's why the Marcus Smarts of the world and guys like that are gonna play for as long as
always gonna have a role for those guys, and
always.
It's just let's utilize those things. All right,
yes.
We have a couple of super chats, so let's get to our super chats, because then we got a couple more things to go over.
Yep.
So first, let's start with 2 cents. You cents, who cents for free? I apologize for $2 chat. We grown. No, I just didn't get to it yet. AR-15 is the confirmation. AR-15 is your confirmation bias, Fluent. Coach's decision. I know G Leaguers play would eat AR-15 alive. Underwhelming. I wouldn't go that far on him. But defensively, no, maybe he's saying defensively is,
he's definitely a liability defensively. We saw that in the FIBA World Championships.
Yeah.
That they actively hunted him. 100%. They went after him. But what I'm not trying to hear Austin Reeves just being another guy, because he's not another guy.
Offensively, he's not. Offensively, he's not. But here's the thing, right? To the point. They had to move LeBron to the 5, because if you think about it, if Luka's the 1, Reeves is the 2, and LeBron is where he should be, the 3, and those are your 3 perimeter defenders, you're cooked.
You're roast.
Especially when you don't have a big way that can cover it up. You're cooked. So they were forced to play that game. So I agree and disagree with you. So that's 2 cents. Yeah. Let's go back to the other one he was referring to. Not surprised, Fluent. The quiet part out loud. Yeah, well, that's me. That's always me. And then this one, although it's not a super chat, I do want to bring it up because you might not remember who this is, but I'll remind you in a second. and he said, "Hey guys, hey, can you guys do a topic of why Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time?" It's a really good topic. Then
We can't do we can't have a topic on why they're the worst because they're not the worst.
well, we
It's
can.
Cowboys.
We talked about the flat Earth, and that it's not flat, so we can talk about anything. But let me remind you who this is. So there was an episode of the Hoopstorians, and this is the guy who was on for about 30 seconds, and I gave him a look, and he hung up because I gave him a squinty-eyed look. FYI, he didn't stay on long enough to know that I had a migraine that day.
Right.
However, you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
I ran this guy. I didn't run him off the Hoopstorians, but he's the one who said, well, all the top Jordan isn't even top 100 because if you don't have Bernard King, I believe the example he gave, if you don't have Bernard King in the NBA top 75, then you can make a case that Jordan shouldn't be top 75 either.
No, you can't.
That was
You
his argument. Was
No.
that there's no logic, and don't tell me about his accolades and what he achievements and all that stuff. It's all nonsense. If you can keep guys like Bernard King out of top 75, then Jordan could be out of there too.
I would love to hear your argument about.
No,
why.
I don't think you do.
I would love to hear that. Yes,
I don't think you do.
I'm not one of those people who entertains idiots.
Well,
idiocy.
so here's the thing. So he said it, and I went, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," and he hung up.
Yeah.
And left the
I
chat.
remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
I do remember you telling me about that. But I'm not one of these people who entertains idiocy. I'm not. But that right there, to tell me that Jordan, if like Bernard King is the measuring stick. Like if Bernard King ain't a top 75 player, neither is Jordan. I would love to hear your logic on that. Please give me legit logic.
Yeah, like that. Now that being said,
yep,
there is a chunk of Jordan fans that are nuts. There is a chunk of LeBron fans that are nuts. There is a chunk of Kobe fans, and I think those are the three, the main three that are nuts. Like I don't hear a lot of crazy stuff from a lot of other fans, but those three.
The Warrior fans are the worst when it comes to
Warrior fans.
Yes, they're the worst, 100%. They've now developed the Patriot syndrome. Like they should be in the NBA championship every year. They should be winning the NBA championship every year. Steph Curry is Tom Brady, and every year they should be.
Well, I think every fan.
No. There's such an entitlement. There is such an entitlement with Golden State Warriors fans. They are the worst of all of them. They 100% are the worst.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen, a superstar? No. Incorrect. Let's see.
And
where do
unpredictable. Just so you know, cry about the fact that you had the biggest collapse in NBA history, and you had to go get KD in order to win the NBA championship again. Cry about that.
Let's do our. So I've been told that all my content only has to do with LeBron James. It's
not true, by the way.
We had the VP of analytics of ESPN tell me I have 12.5% of my content is LeBron. That being said, we've already shown he is the most followed NBA player in the world, and I believe the next 10 combined don't even touch him. So talking about the most followed basketball player on a basketball show kind of seems fair, especially when he comes out and does a teaser. By the way, can you believe, let me go back a step. Can you believe that stupid teaser was about Amazon Prime Days?
What teaser?
Well, did you not see? It was like him in a news conference. Hey, LeBron, we heard there might be a retirement. What are you going to do next? And he just kind of looks, and then the screen goes dark.
No, I didn't see.
Did you not see this?
No, I didn't.
Well, now you're going to have to make me find it and play it for you. So basically, there's a commercial. I'll describe it to you while I look here. There's a commercial. He's sitting at like a desk. Oh, here we go. Look at that. That wasn't that hard to find. Here, let me just play it for you. Probably easier.
Please.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't see this.
Nope.
LeBron, are the retirement rumors true? What's next?
No, I've never. That's the first time I've seen that. Sorry.
Okay, it's about Amazon Prime Days. It's the stupidest thing ever. In the middle of the NBA Finals, by the way, and I was making the case that this dude just an attention whore trying to stick his nose into the finals where he doesn't belong. So that being said, so he does that, And so it brings up a lot of these things. LeBron and his retirement. My kids are like, Dad, continue your dream. This is your dream. You've been here for us your whole time. Blah 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 blah. Your thoughts on LeBron and like how long? Dalton Connect said he can play another 5 or 10 years, and he'd love to play with him for that long. How long do you think LeBron stays in the league?
To be honest with you, I was thinking that he was quitting after this season, but he can't retire without there being a farewell tour. He can't do it. But what I do know is I don't think that the league will allow him. I don't think Adam Silver and those guys would allow him to stay around for 5 more years. I don't think they'll do it. And the reason why I don't think they'll do it is because they are trying to usher in new blood. They are trying to usher in new faces, and they're still trying to figure out who the face of the league is. And as long as James is here, that's never going to happen. As long as James is still with the Lakers, that's never going to happen. And I can honestly say that he's still one of the 10 best players in the game, but he's still going to be.
Because I Siakam over LeBron at this point.
I'm confident, right? I'm confident that he's still one of the 10 best players in the game. But the problem is what he's done over the course of his career. If he's not in the championship, none of that stuff matters. He's not one of those players who can just play. No, he's got to be in the playoffs, going deep in the playoffs, winning the NBA championship, or getting close to it. And if that's not the case, why is he still here? So for him,
he's chasing ghosts.
Well, and see, that's the other thing we're going into year 23, by the way.
I honestly, I think he's the Hulk Hogan of the NBA.
Which is?
And let me explain, because I know you're not a wrestling guy.
I'm not.
So in wrestling, when a young guy's coming up, the superstars will take one of them and they call it putting him over. So they'll have a match with one of the young stars and they win, but they put up a really good match, or even if they lose, they put up such a good match that it like, oh wow, this person's like legit. And they put him over and they bring them into that upper echelon. And it's the veteran's job to do that with the younger talent. The problem is Hulk Hogan, who we all know, didn't do that. He did it once or twice early in his career and then stopped. And the proof of that is he left from what was then the WWF, which became the WWE, and he joined WCW. And in his contract, he had full creative control. Never give someone that, by the way. And so it was like, hey, we want you to put over this person. And he's like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And then the morning of, he's like, nope, not doing it. I'm gonna walk out with the belt still. And they're like, no, we had a deal. This person's gonna be, because obviously it's scripted, who's gonna win. And he's like, nope, not doing it. I have full creative control. And it created like the writer came out into the ring and said, this is BS. This company sucks. You got guys like Hulk Hogan who won't and slammed his mic down and left. Oh yeah, it was chaos. I kind of feel like that's LeBron. And not to that extent, but in the sense that for there to be a passing of the torch, for there to be a new face of the league, he has to be gone.
He's got to go.
And until he goes, whether he likes it or not, whether fans like it or not, whether the NBA likes it or not, because he has been the best player in this league for about 20 damn years. So until he leaves and he's gone and doing something else with no chance of coming back, he's the face of the league. And no one else will be the face of the league. And every time we say, who are they going to give it to? No one. They can't. He's got it, and he has to give it away. And he's not doing that. And so for my thing, and I've been telling you this for 3 years now, I think.
Yep.
I think he stays and plays this year and next. And the next year, which would be his 24th season, maybe an homage to Mr. 24 here, he plays with Bryce and Bronny. And now he has something that no one will ever, you talk about records no one will ever play with 2 of their children in the NBA. And then because the timing works out so perfect, he announces it. Yep. They bring in Bryce. He plays with Bryce and Bronny. The Lakers are whatever they are. It's his retirement. Everybody knows it. His kids are there with him on the bench as they're doing the retirement tour, and they're giving him the chair. Remember the rocking chair?
So Max plays for the Lakers too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bryce. No, I said Bryce and Brian.
That's his name, Bryce
Oh.
Maximus.
Bryce.
Yeah, that's
Bryce Maximus. That's horrible. Anyway, you watch too much Gladiator. Anyway, so he has the farewell tour with both of his kids with him, right? And so when they give him, because everyone's going to give him a present, and like they're going to give him a rocking chair and a this and a that and a those, and it's like with the kids, it doesn't need to be away from his family. Savannah's going to be there because heck, both of her kids are there. It's this whirlwind, beautiful story. He then, at the end of the season, he's already told us, announces his retirement officially. Bron, what are you going to do next? Well, we have the new team coming to Vegas, and with the help of the United Emirates and whoever else are the other people who are fronting the billions of dollars, right? I'm going to be the
face of it,
president of basketball operations for the new Las Vegas basketball team, and part owner, minority owner, and that's just a perfect transition because he's already said, "I can't coach. I ain't coaching."
Yeah, he already said that.
Steve Nash even said to him, "Don't coach." Just
it's not for you.
Out of experience, Steve Nash like, "Yeah, don't coach."
Tone. As much as I wanted that story sounds great. Tony, if this was the mob, he'd have been whacked. 100%.
100%.
If this is the mob, he would have already been whacked. For as long as he's been around.
This also sorry to interrupt you, but just quickly, this for people who think I'm nuts, just think about the timing of everything. And he's already said he wants the team in Vegas and he's putting together. And even Adam Silver said, there's even players that want to be like, it's all already been agreed upon here, guys. Like, I'm not making stuff up.
So this is already scripted.
Oh, this is already done. And here's the thing. It also then just think about it in that year. Now Wemby's in like year 4, Cooper Flagg's in year 2 or 3. Ant is in his prime. SGA's in his prime.
In Vegas,
there's a lot of guys. No. I'm just saying there's a lot of guys now who can take over or fight over the throne because you'll have so many. We have so many good young players.
Yeah.
So just give them a little bit more seasoning and off you go.
I thought that the retirement was coming up sooner than that. This kid Bryce is going to have to turn out to be a baller then. If that's the case,
I think he's already better than Bronny. And if Bronny can get drafted and get a couple of minutes, why can't Bryce?
So he plays the 1 year at Arizona, and with him playing the 1 year at Arizona, he puts his name in the 26th draft, and he's going to come out.
100%. Arizona, by the way, what is it? 3-hour drive up to Vegas? It's not that far.
It's not that far at all. No, it isn't.
When I lived there, that was our weekend trip. We shoot up to Vegas.
Oh man, he's got it. Tone, I have to be honest with you.
And Tucson's great, by the way.
Tucson is a great town.
I lived in Tucson before I moved to Scottsdale, and out of I was forced to. But I really enjoyed the kind of the small town kind of feel about it. I always tease RJ Richard Jefferson about this place called the Cactus Moon, and every time I bring it up, he gets real quiet.
Sounds like that was a wild place. Sounds like that was a really
real funny.
I just think that.
Funny story. Just quick side note, because I know Rich. I know he watches you sometimes. He watches the show. The guy that doesn't look anything like me, Steve, who's sitting next to you at all of the games, just say hi back to him. It's my brother. He's trying to say hello. He's embarrassed. He's shy to tell you he's brothers with Fluent. Just when he says hi, just say what's up. He wanted you to text him and say, "Hey, can you tell Richard to say hi to me?" I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna have." Not happening. I said you have to be a man and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hey."
I just feel like with this vote of confidence from his family, and I mean, I do think that I don't think this is fake news neither. I think this is something that's really going on. I think this is something that he's gotten encouraged to do. And the thing that I'm worried about is him being around for 4 or 5 more years.
No, I don't think it's that long.
I hope it's not that long, to be honest with you, Tone. I really do. Because you can definitely stay too long. Muhammad Ali stayed longer than he should have. Muhammad Ali should have quit after he fought Foreman. That should have been over after he fought Foreman. Instead, what did he do? He fought for 5 more years after that.
So
all right, nephew. instead of retiring after he dropped Foreman, maybe fighting another year, 2 tops. He fought for 5 more years, Tom.
I think boxers do that a lot more, but yes. But you're right. Like, it was weird to see Ewing as a Magic, right? And
He was in Seattle. I'm like, what is he doing in Seattle?
No.
What is he doing up there? You can stick around longer than you should. And anybody knows me knows I'm a James guy, and I can
Olajuwon is a Raptor.
I can appreciate the business side of this. I can appreciate how much money I can, especially now with the farewell tour, him playing for the Lakers, him still being really good. I mean, again, so I'm on record saying it. I don't think it's 10 players in the game better than him. You don't think it's 5. I don't think it's 10 players in the game better than him today. And I can't say that about any player that I have ever seen in my life at that age.
No,
I can say that there's 10 players. The downside, the good side is that he's still awesome. The downside is that he's still awesome.
But here's the beauty of it, right? That's why I think the 2 years works really well. It's this year, so he gets a full season with Luka, see what they can do. They realize that they're going to fall short. And then the final season is his retirement farewell tour, where he has a couple of those, Mamba out games, right? And it builds up, and he passes that Laker torch to Luka now. So now the team will be constructed by then, because you need a couple of years to create the roster around Luka so that he can just kind of walk away. And I think he's that type of guy that he would do that. Because here's the other thing about his legacy. Every time LeBron James leaves a team, he leaves it bare. No, this time I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to leave it in better shape than I got it.
Yep.
Because when he got it, it was a team that hadn't made the playoffs in like 5 years. And, so he's going to leave it in better than he left it. So I think that's not a bad thing.
There it is.
All right, so we got a bunch of topics. I'm going to go through these ones a little bit faster. I find this interesting. So this is for Mind the Game.
Discuss so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything. You sit here and tell me, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, are fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about.
So that's LeBron talking about ring culture ruining the conversation. But this is also LeBron.
And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled.
So my question is this more typical LeBron hypocrisy contradiction, or can you say ring culture has kind of ruined basketball discourse and at the same time say, well, certain rings make you a better individual player?
Well, I don't think all rings are equal. There are some championships.
Yeah, I agree. All rings are not created equal. I agree.
There are some championships that are better, but this right here is the complete opposite. Like what you're telling me, okay, sure, Steve Nash didn't win, Charles Barkley didn't win, Elgin Baylor didn't win, Karl Malone didn't win, and they're incredible, 100%. But you do not want to be associated with them, which is why you left Cleveland the first time, which is why you went to Miami, because you did not want to be associated with that. And you knew that if you stayed there, that's where you were going to be. You were going to be associated with that. So the idea that, well, these guys were amazing, well, we know that they were amazing, but winning separates these guys.
They're not going to be talked about on the same level as you. None of those guys are in the top.
You didn't want to be talked about like that right. You didn't win. That's awesome, which is why you left Cleveland. So I can appreciate your logic that, yes, Steve Nash and Karl Malone and
he goes on to say Dan Marino. He starts using other teams.
Dan Marino. And I'm on record. Eli Manning was not better than Dan Marino. No, he was not.
Agreed.
No doubt about that. However, you left Cleveland because you did not want to be associated with that. So I can appreciate you big upping. I can appreciate you acknowledging how awesome these guys were. But on the flip side to that, you left for the exact reason why you didn't want to be associated with that.
I just have the problem with
leaving.
I just have the problem, and I've always had this problem. Rings don't make you the best. I agree with that. But this ring right here made me the best. No, you can't have it both ways.
Well,
you can't have it both ways.
Winning does separate you, Tone, and don't get me wrong.
It matters.
I do think that
after everything else.
Yeah, I do think that there's some things, and I've always felt like that there's some things that come before winning, but when you win, I think that it enhances those things that you already did. No doubt about that. But with that being said, I can appreciate why he felt like he did. And the thing that really bugs me out is because all of these guys do it. Chamberlain did it, Russell did it, Jordan did it. We just didn't hear him. We just didn't hear him say it. Shaq did it. Not only did Shaq do it, I mean, I heard Shaq say after they won the championship for the third time in 3 years, if I ain't the baddest center in Laker history, I won't be satisfied. That's saying if I ain't better than Chamberlain, if I ain't better than Jabbar, if you don't say that I'm better than these dudes, I will not be satisfied. That's the same as James going, I'm the best ever. It's this, and all of these guys, we just never heard Jordan say it.
Unless your name is Muhammad Ali, I cringe every time I hear a team sport person say, I'm the greatest.
Ever. Yeah. I'm the best ever.
I'm the best ever. That's for other people to say. That's all. Like that's all. Now, behind closed doors, I'm the best. I'm the best. You heard Charles Barkley say after the Bulls and Michael Jordan specifically stomped us, in that finals against Phoenix. That was the first time I ever went, oh man, I'm not the best player in the world. There's someone better than me. Because there is a level of you have to think you're the best. And I get all that.
Cordell, just so you know, Cordell, I don't have receipts on everyone, but I am a former ball player and a competitor. And from a competitive standpoint, knowing how these guys are, because I did grow up around that, they said it. They just didn't say it out loud. That's all it was. They just didn't say it out loud.
Heck, I'll tell you right now. I on record as saying when I was playing, I'm the best shooter you've ever seen. Was I the best shooter you'd ever seen? Nope. But that was my mentality. And I always say, like I always tell my kids that I coach, I'm like, every time I shoot, I go, I don't care if it's here to the moon. I'm like, no, I'm making that. Like that was just always that has to be your mentality.
I've always felt like
the second you stop thinking like everything's going in as an example for a shooter, the second I stop it, then I'm going to stop shooting. Because if you think I'm going to miss this one, then yeah, you are. 100% you are.
I've always said, Tone, show me a rapper that doesn't think he's the best, and I'll show you a whack rapper.
Yes.
I've always felt like that.
Machine Gun Kelly legit thought he was who's the other dude? Who's the other dude from LA that wanted beef with Eminem? I'm drawing a blank. He was.
Oh, you're talking about the dude. You talking about the dude from what you call it? From
why am I drawing a blank? He did some
Everlast.
50. No, not Everlast.
I thought you were talking about Everlast from
LA. From LA. The Game. Thank you, JE. The Game. I used to think he was the best. No, I'm the best. No, you're not the best.
No, you're not.
That's why there's always a beef about who's the king of New York. Nas, Biggie, Jay. Like, there's a reason. All right, this was our thumbnail for the show today. The Thunder roll. They win game 5. They're up 3-2, commanding lead. It looks like things are over.
Yeah.
You'll notice John Morant laying on the ground. You'll notice Steph Curry grabbing his hammy. You'll notice Aaron Gordon also grabbing it. And you'll notice Tyrese Halliburton bandaged up like a mummy.
Yep.
And the excuses have already started to roll in. That the only reason that OKC is going to win it, they haven't even won it yet. The only reason they're going to win is because someone got hurt in every single round.
So that's what I say to that. So if you and I race 100 yards, you're at your best and I'm at my best, and at 80 yards I blow a tire, that is not your problem. It is not. And not only is it not your problem, we are not going to say, well, if Chill didn't blow a tire, but he did, and that's a Chill problem. That's a Chill problem. He's the one who blew the tire, not Tone. So if we're doing that, we got to do that with all the champions. Every last one of them had teams that broke down. Every last one of them had guys who were busted up. Every last one of them had guys who were hurt. The Lakers ended up getting swept in the finals in 1989. And the reason why they got swept, because Magic tore his hamstring and he couldn't play. We didn't say that, Isaiah Thomas, Magic got hurt. No, we didn't. We said that the Detroit Pistons are the NBA champs. Both James Worthy.
I'll still tell you to this day, if Karl Malone doesn't get hurt, the Lakers win that chip against Boston. Against Detroit, pardon me.
I did think that. But you know what? He did. A 40-year-old Malone, he wasn't healthy. Byron Scott and James Worthy, they weren't able to play in the NBA Finals. The Bulls beat them. I didn't sit there and go, well, if James Worthy and Byron Scott was healthy, no. You guys couldn't hold up. That's a you problem.
Right.
There's plenty.
The Celtics last year only won because everybody got hurt, and then guess what? Well, this year they didn't repeat because Tatum got hurt. Well, it's so that's always good. Like you're flip flopping the excuse.
That's it in a nutshell. I what happened in 21 when with Giannis? Well, all of these guys ended up getting hurt. Let's not forget Giannis hyperextended his knee, and he was out for the end of the Eastern Conference, and he was able to come back for the finals. I thought he was out for the rest of the season, but he got hurt too, and he was able to come back. So I mean, that's part of it, Tone.
Yeah,
that is part of it.
The Raptors only won because KD got hurt, and I go, hold on a minute. Oh, and Clay, and I'm like, Clay got hurt. They were already up 3-2 with Clay healthy, so it's not like they were getting smoked. And then I say, I'm like, well, hold on, KD getting hurt, because here's where there's this contradiction, right?
Yep.
They'll try to use the regular season, but then when it backfires, they don't care about the regular season. Here's what I mean. Well, KD was hurt. That's the only reason the Raptors beat them. But the regular season, the Raptors were 3-0 against the Warriors with KD. Well, that doesn't matter. Oh, okay, but I thought you said the regular season, they were 73-9, so the regular season a few years earlier. So that was the best team ever assembled. You heard LeBron say that a second ago. Oh, well, that was different. Oh, but that's different.
Give me a break.
Pick one.
KD, I mean, not KD.
Oh, so you think this is nonsense? If Oklahoma City finishes the job and wins, it's a legit NBA championship.
100% it's legit. Just like it was legit in 19 when KD got hurt. Just like it was legit in 17 when Leonard got hurt. Just like it was legit in 91. Just like it was legit in 89. Just like it was legit in all of these years when these guys broke down. That's a you problem. That is not a me problem. If I couldn't hold up, you are not going to. If I couldn't hold up, you are not going to say, well, we're not going to take the ring.
Let me wait till you get healthy and let's play.
No, absolutely. or if I blow a tire at 80 yards, Tone, you're not going to turn around and go, okay, I'm going to wait for you to get up. No, that's a you problem. No, absolutely not.
You play who's in front of you. Absolutely.
This is as legit can get. Give me a break.
So
and by the way, and really quickly, Tone, they would have smoked Memphis anyway. Let's be clear about that. Denver, on the other hand, if Gordon didn't get hurt, I think we're looking at
and you have MPJ too.
I do think we look, but that again, that's still a you problem. They would have smoked. They still would have smoked Memphis, though. I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah, but here's the thing I think about though too. When there's an injured player, I always say, well, they could have played a different player. Would there have been a different outcome? I don't know. If that player was healthy, well, for all the good that they do, are they taking away shots from other people? Are they doing other things? Like, it's a whole different game, so it's hard to say. But let's say the NBA Finals was a 5-game series, like the first round used to be.
Sure.
And the series ended last night, when the night before, whenever the hell it was. And OKC won the chip.
Yep.
Who would be the Finals MVP?
Well,
considering J-Dub dropped a 40-piece in what would have been the clinching game. So assuming the series ended,
he would have won the Finals MVP last night, Tone.
You believe he would have won the Finals MVP?
I think he would have won the Finals MVP last night. Yes, I do think that. Considering what he had done coming up to this. Don't get me wrong, I think SGA saved them in game 4. Right? I think SGA saved them in game 4, but I think J-Dub has gotten progressively better as the series has gone on. As the series has gone on, he's just gotten better. And from game 3, 4, and 5, SGA was not having a great game in game 4. In fact, it was looking really pedestrian.
Oh, didn't he have like 2 points in the first half and then
5, I think, as a matter of fact.
No, was it? No, I thought it was 2. Maybe. I know he ended with 35, and I thought he had 2 or 3 in the first.
Something like that. Yeah. And J-Dub, on the other hand, has been really steady. 26, 27. And then on top of that, being on the defensive end, taking charges, rebounding the basketball. If that series ended last night, I think J-Dub is your Finals MVP. And guess what kind of conversation we having now, Tone? Holy shit.
Let me ask you this. So even though SGA leads in points, has one less rebound per game, leads in points, assists, steals, and blocks by a wide margin, and shoots at a higher percentage, you still got. Do you pick J-Dub? Forget what the media was going to do. Would you pick J-Dub as the MVP?
I think he played better. I do. I just think that it got progressively better as the series went on. I do. Even though SGA, in my estimation, is by, I'm not going to say by far, but he's clearly the better player.
Remind me again who won the Western Conference MVP?
That was Shea, 100%.
Remind me again who's the MVP of the league?
Shea, yep.
There is no way, no chance, no how. I don't care if he goes out and puts in a stinker in game 6 that they're not going to give it to SGA. That's not saying he deserves it or not. I'm saying there's no way, no chance, no how that they don't give him the finals MVP.
So why didn't they do that with Jason Tatum then, Tone?
Because he wasn't the MVP of the league. He didn't win the Eastern Conference MVP.
He did win the Eastern Conference MVP.
No, that year.
He didn't win the Eastern Conference.
There's no way they don't give him the trifecta. There's no way. None. Now, we all agree they could have gone either way, but
even if he's awful, yeah,
even if he's awful, there's no. You know what that would cause?
It would cause mass hysteria for him to be the league MVP. Even though, again, I'm looking at what J-Dub did, how much better he got throughout the course of the series. They'll
justify it. They'll justify it by, well, he had, which is the opposite of last year. But they'll justify it and say, well, he got it because he was more consistent, right? He's had more points, more assists, more steals, more blocks. Like it's not even close in the steals and blocks category. I think J-Dub has 0
blocks
or steals. It might be blocks. I think he has 0.
Yeah,
I think he has 0. I'm sure someone will correct me if he has 1. But it's just like, and he shoots a higher percentage. So I think you're gonna, and he's the league MVP. They'll be like, well, he got him there, right? He got him there. He was the Western Conference Finals MVP or Western Conference MVP. He got him there. So I put the link. I will put the link one more time in the chat for people to join us. We're gonna end, and you guys can comment about anything, including what I'm about to post. Because I've got actually 2 things, because I changed. There's something that's been going around that everybody's talking about, and I changed it to make it a harder conversation. So first I'll start you with the original. So here's the original. Cut one player. And the reason I made it harder is because it's so easy that I don't even know why this is a thing going around the internet. It's Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, and Nikola Jokic. And it's simple. You cut Joel Embiid because he's going to cut himself by being injured and not playing. It's a no-brainer that it's Joel Embiid. And anyone who says anything different is not paying attention.
I'm not paying attention because I think it's Dwight Howard.
What?
Yeah, I think it's Dwight Howard.
At their peak?
Yes, I think it's Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard, the guy who was smoking the league
100%
at his peak.
I think it's Dwight Howard.
Destroying Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid would be crying in the hallway, which he's been known to do multiple times on camera. He'd be crying in the hallway.
Yeah, I think it's Dwight Howard. And the reason why I think it's Dwight Howard is because Joel Embiid at his peak, the bucket getter that and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to argue how good Dwight Howard was as a defender, but I don't think that we are having a conversation about Joel Embiid and Joker. I think those 2 guys are over this way. I think it's between Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard. And then I'm going to ask,
if you put prime Dwight Howard on any of those playoff Philly teams, they're winning the chip.
They're not winning the NBA championship.
What were they missing? They were missing defense and athletic.
Joel Embiid was an all-league defender at that point.
Compared to Dwight Howard, he was not.
No, he might not have been the defender that Dwight Howard was, but he cleared him as an offensive player.
And you know what he did? He stood out on the 3-point line, ruining himself.
And Dwight Howard, who had a little bit of a face-up game. It wasn't even close to Joel Embiid.
Don't need it. That's the problem. Joel Embiid fell in love with the face-up game, which we don't need.
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference between why Joel Embiid.
You put Dwight Howard on a team with Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, et cetera, et cetera. That team's winning the chip that year.
Hold on, we going? So what are we doing with Dwight Howard? Are we running the offense through him? Like we throwing the ball to him on the box? So
No.
like so what are we doing? Because he was a terrible passer. He was a terrible facilitator.
We're not running it through him. We're not running it through him. His job
what
is
exactly
his job is to be a rim runner. His job is to be a rim runner, to defend, and to catch his lobs. That's
so and Anthony Davis was better than him at that.
100%. I've got Anthony Davis.
And Anthony Davis was better than him at that. Joel Embiid also was better than him at that in terms of rim running. And I don't have to run over to the rim. I can stop and pop, which now drags the defense away from the rim. And now I can dive to the rim.
How did that work out for him?
And finish around the rim. And again, we're talking about Joel Embiid. We're talking about Joel Embiid at his best. And we're cutting one of these guys. Joel Embiid at his best. I think the gap between these two guys is substantial offensively. Defensively, I don't think that the gap is that big.
Did you just not tell me winning matters?
100%.
White took his team to the NBA Finals. Embiid can't get out the second round.
No, Embiid can't get out the second round. I'm not going to argue that. That part I'm not going to argue.
Better talent.
Okay, so that's the same. So the same logic happened with Anthony Davis as the man. He couldn't get his team out of the second round.
He's got a chip. He's good.
Okay, so he got a chip because he had somebody that was that.
I'm not saying as he has to be the number one. Yep. What I'm saying is if I'm building a team that I'm building the team, so I'm going to have good players everywhere. Sure. I'm taking Dwight over Joel Embiid every single time because Joel Embiid is a cancer who's going to be hurt, who's not going to play, who's going to whine, who's going to cry, who is not good for my team. And that matters just as much as the skill level. So yes, to your point, is his skill level on the offensive end higher than Dwight's? 100%, but don't need it because of all the nobody looks at the negatives. They always look at the positives and they're like, oh, sure. I'm looking at his negatives and saying, I'm not dealing with that.
Okay, just so you know, Tone, Dwight Howard, he ended up getting traded from Orlando because of exactly.
Well, I'm only using the prime,
but and that's no, that doesn't work. Sorry, no.
I'm only using the prime.
No, he burnt it down everywhere he went. He burnt it down in Orlando. He burnt it down in Houston. He burnt it down in Charlotte. He burnt it down in all of these other places. Everywhere he's played, he's burnt it down. So, if I had to choose between the two of these, between these guys. I'm starting Joker. I'm benching Embiid. I'm benching Anthony Davis, and I'm cutting Dwight Howard.
Well, apparently the answer is Jokic.
I mean, if you care about defense, but here's the difference. The difference is, and I've said this, I care about two-way players, and I care about being on the defensive side of the ball. But there are guys, Curry, James Harden, Magic, who are so awesome on the offensive side of the basketball, so awesome that they're the exception.
He was shut down by Caruso. It's got to be Jokic.
He was not shut down by Caruso.
Maybe you're right.
40 and 10 on him twice. Give me a break.
We already talked about 2 cents. Okay. We're gonna get to this in a second. We're gonna put this question from Fluent Chill, which is odd. I'll put that up in a second to ask the people that are going to join. So I'm going to bring it. So let me at least show you how I fixed it.
Yep.
Leading scorer for Olympiacos. They won. That was my team growing up as a kid. So I got to give.
Win it?
Yeah, hell yeah. I got to give Shat McKissick a shot. So now, if you got to cut one, now I'll go Dwight Howard.
Top left is definitely not getting cut. No, he isn't.
Yeah, even though I put him top right because I had to replace.
No,
I probably should have swapped Dwight Howard. I didn't have much time to put it together. So top left, you ain't getting cut, bro. I got to send him the clip of this. All right, now we can bring up some guests. We got a couple waiting. I'll send the link again. Come back, Avery. I saw Avery just dropped off. I'm gonna put this comment up, and 2 cents. You can talk about this. You can talk about something else. The comment, let me just read. I think it's time for a discussion that SGA is better than Kobe and coming close to MJ. This is definitely not a Fluent and Chill approved message.
Man, wow. Bro, y'all really brought me up first, bro. I was sitting back in the backstage listening, but it's okay. It's okay. But my dream is to be on a panel if I could clone Fluent and Chill. And what y'all actually have to say, I know And I don't know. I'm gonna find out later what Fluent is on throughout the week. I know what Chill is on, and the way he handles that, man, it's crazy. I don't know how you take that torture. More power to you. I promise you. more power to you.
I used to be on that same show every day, and real life came knocking, and I had to go do something else that keeps me awake. But I try to go on. It's been
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long. I was on when was that, for the 10th, 100th, the 1000th episode or something I was on. So I'll jump on every once in a while.
Okay, yeah. Hey, link up. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm actually being honest about it. Just link up where you at throughout the week. I can see Chill. I done seen Chill on like ESPN, and he's going against a whole bunch of younger people, and he's trying to do his part and stuff like that, and trying to get people to understand. When he figures it out, I promise you, I will tap in with him and be like, man, how'd you understand what these young guys are seeing with their frame of reference? They don't have that frame of reference. Go ahead.
I was just asking, what part of the world are you in?
I'm in Texas right now, but I'm from North Carolina.
No, if you're in Texas, then you won't. Because I was gonna say he does the big TV stuff. He's the big TV star.
Yeah.
I'm ESPN Radio New York, so I'm not. I'm just a little fish doing radio. He's the big man doing 1v10s on the big show. But I'll hit you up. We have a little show.
Yeah. At one point in time, I don't care if we have to do paperwork and all this stuff. One day it will be all three of us up here, and we're actually talking. And we're going back because I understand both of you are still rational, even if you disagree. What my opinion is, sometimes it's facts and it's opinions. You can't sit here and tell me, oh, Muggsy Bogues is better than Michael Jordan. That can be your opinion. But if it's not rooted in facts, it's something totally different. I'm not about to sit here until I'm blue in the face arguing with people.
Muggsy Bogues is shorter than Michael Jordan. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Would be an opinion. Correct.
Yeah, it's hard to compare, when people are that out of their positions and stuff like that. And you don't know how hard it is to watch a locomotive go down the track and you can't stop it. I heard when they said Halliburton was overrated. He was at that time. I don't care if he became the best ever after the fact. He was good for 2 months. But everybody jumped on the bandwagon on what he's going to do and what they thought he was doing. And I was sitting there listening. Of course, I listen to Chill all the time on like Talkback and stuff like that. He's like, man, I'm telling you, y'all just listen. They're not listening. But when Chill figure out, please let me know when you figure out how to talk to those guys that's on your panel. That's 20 years old, 30 years old. They don't have that type of wisdom. They smart and intelligent. And it's hard to let them know. I'm like, man, it's still, but it was 4-2 for me at the beginning. It was 4-2. I don't know how they was going to get it, but at the end of the day, I applaud Chill. But I want to see Fluent. Hey, drop something in the chat. Where you at? I want to hear you too. I hear Chill all the time and watch him have to listen and get tortured. Just drop that, and I'm gonna drop out.
I appreciate you too, Sam.
Appreciate you, brother. EX.
What up?
When it's someone I don't know, I always get nervous.
Can y'all hear me?
What up?
Hey, what's good with y'all fellas, man? Hope y'all having a good night, man.
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother?
Several things, man. I think that this has been a great series between the Pacers and the Thunder. It's a series that I thought was going to end in 4. Yeah, poo on me. Yeah, I actually
had OKC smoking these dudes.
I had them smoking them, man.
I had them smoking them in 5, so it's all good.
I was wrong.
I gave them.
I was wrong on that, and then I said, you know what, they stole game 1. I got them in 5, and then that didn't happen. So I think I underestimated the Pacers. I think that their offense really is something that I underrated mainly, and then their ability to just turn their defense on. That's something that I is one of the main reasons I said OKC was going to smoke them. I thought coming into the playoffs, their defense was like what was it? The middle of the pack. I believe it was the middle of the pack. It wasn't that great. Nothing really to brag about. But I want to talk about SGA mainly. He's a guy who I doubted. I remember his breakout season when he first averaged 30, and one of my friends was telling me, "Oh yeah, look what he's doing." I'm like, man, this is just another player hot for a month. That's what I said. Another player hot for a month, and it's going to fizzle out. And he continued to do that. And then he put himself in the MVP conversation last year and he didn't win it. And people talking about he was robbed. I don't agree with that. But this year, I thought he was definitely deserving of the MVP 100%. He's doing great things. And at the beginning of the playoffs, I had OKC winning the title because last year, I thought the experience thing was a factor. I said the experience will be the reason why they lose and they're not going to go far in the playoffs. And that was true. But once they got Hartenstein and Caruso, I was like, that experience thing we talking about, that's the talent that they got on their team is going to override that, and it did in the Denver series, and it's been doing that thus far. And now the experience thing is out the window because they've gone this far and they got the experience now. So what's stopping them now?
Right.
The only,
know what I'm saying?
the only thing that's going to stop them is going to be like egos, contracts, injuries.
Yeah.
That's the part right there, Tone. The money. That's where it's going to get. I think that's where it's going to get tricky because Oklahoma City got a situation. They not SGA. I'm sorry, but J-Dub. You know, he's going to be up for a Supermax next year. He made the All-Pro team this year, so that's going to be a big deal. SGA is also up for.
Long enough?
Yes. Long. No, that's not true, Tone.
No, he has to be in the league for like I think 5 or 7 years, something like that.
And also, I take that back. That's not true. He's gonna get the max on his rookie scale, on his rookie.
Okay, yeah.
That's the way that's gonna work. He's not up for a Supermax. I gotta make sure that that's correct. But SGA, on the other hand, he's up for an extension for like 350 or something like that. It's like 76 million a season. And I hate the fact that because Red Auerbach circumvented the rules, that now they've changed it to where you can't do that anymore. Because I mean, Red Auerbach took pride in looking at contracts and recognizing loopholes.
Hey, chill. Can I stop you for a second, really quickly? You think I don't know. I think this team is showing a lot of selflessness. Like they really enjoy playing with each other. And I think they're about the business. Like, do you think any of those guys would take a pay cut?
No, not in today.
You don't think so?
Not today.
Brunson did it. I mean, he's that's different. But
Brunson
he's
did
out
do
like.
it. But I feel like we live in a.
Hey, Jay, I just want you to know, I pulled up OKC's salary cap situation.
Yeah,
and everybody, with the exception of Daniel Theis, who no one cares about,
is coming back next year.
Is under contract next year,
and
the year after, with the exception of Holmgren and J-Dub, who have
Rook deals.
Yeah, they're qualifying offers, which they're gonna pick up, of course. So they could have at least this year and 2 more with this same core group.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I'd love to see that, Tone. I'm just thinking about what the money is going to look like, because like you just said, they undercut. J-Dub is under contract after this season, and then next season that deal doesn't end.
What a steal! What a steal! J-Dub at like right now 4.7, next year 6.5.
Well, think about this, Tone. They don't get him. They don't get him because he was part of the Shea deal for Leonard. That's how they ended up.
Horrible trade.
Yeah,
a horrible trade.
But at that time, you have to do it or you're getting fired. But they one of the parts of that trade was the number first round pick, which ended up being the number 12 pick, which ended up being J-Dub. That's how they got him. So I mean, they got him on the cheap. But with that being said, the thing I'm concerned with is the money. That's what I'm concerned with.
And one more thing, man. I'm not trying to even poo-poo on the Pacers going up against the Thunder. I'm really not, but I was really, really looking forward to seeing the Celtics versus the Thunder. I thought that those were the 2 best teams on paper. And you know, it was the same thing when it was supposed to be the Celtics and the Nuggets, man. Just 2 wonderful matchups I would have loved to see, man. But you know, it's unpredictable in the NBA, and we see what the Thunder have done. They've had a historic season. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to count the Pacers out in game 6 or 7, whatever it is, but I think it's over. They had a historic season.
When you see how all wrapped up in like a mummy, it's over. I think
But
it's over anyways, but it's
to close, I'm gonna just say, what all they have done, you still can't say that you can't say with certainty that they're gonna repeat because it's that type of era right now. You know what I'm saying? It's that type of era. But
I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson
Yeah.
at last year's finals, saying the Celtics are going to repeat. I'm not doing that again. I'm going to wait.
Definitely. But all right, fellas, thank you.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you,
Good
brother.
talk to you. Yes, sir.
A couple super chats. We'll bang through those, and then you can go back and watch that I was right that Joel Embiid's the one that you would cut. So the super, here we go. Boom. Chill. Dwight beat your king to the finals.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis won the NBA championship with my king. So
yeah, but it was Joel Embiid versus Dwight. We're not talking about Anthony Davis.
but he's in the mix. That's it.
And then 2 Cents says it's just something about being number one. Good show.
I don't know what to tell y'all. So
Yes.
we don't talk all of that nonsense. We let y'all do it.
I am number one. No, I talk that nonsense because when you're this good. For LeBron fans, that's when you win 3 in a row. What a three-peat is, FYI. Sorry, LeBron fans. You don't know what that's like.
And this dude talking about me being a big star. I mean, this guy's winning Emmys, but I'm a big star. What we doing, right? Come on.
It's radio. Is this over? We're over time, but I want to end it with the obvious answer, I think, because I've been saying it. Is this series over?
Yes, I had Oklahoma City in 5. This is and we have talked about this.
When we come back next week, we will
next
be talking
Tuesday.
about,
Oklahoma City will be the NBA champion.
Will be the NBA champion, and then we'll finally do what we've been saying we're going to do for 4 weeks, which is look at all the free agents.
Yes, let's definitely get to that, and let's remember too, Tone. This is the first lead that Oklahoma City.
I love this. You literally saw me holding them, and you're calling cap. That's just that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. Keep going.
Just so you know, Tone, this is the first lead that Oklahoma City has had in the series.
What's that now?
This is the first lead that Oklahoma City has had in the series.
What do you mean the first lead that they've had in the series?
They've been down in this series the entire time.
Right.
Or down.
Well, they were down 1-0. They tied it up 1-1. Then they were down 2-1. Tied it up 2-2. That's right.
Yes, sir.
I didn't even think of that.
How about that, Tone? Yeah.
No, do you think they're going to let go of that lead?
No, I think this thing ends on Thursday night. I don't think we're coming back to Oklahoma City. No.
When would Game 7 be? Is it Sunday?
Thursday? It'd be Sunday. Yeah.
Or no? Is it? Yeah, Friday, Saturday off, Sunday.
It'd be Sunday.
You know what though? I'd love for there to be basketball on Sunday.
Please, I can tell you right now.
Like I don't mind a series going 7, 8, 9.
I would love for a Game 7, no doubt about it. But I don't think I'm gonna get a Game 7. I think Oklahoma City, as banged up as Indiana is, Tone with the calf injury that
Let's see how cool you are. Although this is probably uncool now because it's too old. So you think the series goes what? 6, 7?
6. That's as far as I'm going. 6.
Yeah. If you see, you don't get that reference at all. Do you get that reference at all? 6, 7?
Oh boy, I do know where.
Do you know? Do you really or no?
Sounds like some Jordan shit.
No.
6, 7. No, I don't know that.
Oh really? LaMelo Ball.
Oh,
he's 6'1", 6'2", but he's actually 6, 7. No, just me. All right.
Break.
Anyway, it's about this time.
Yes, sir. It is that time. You guys know where to find us at. Every Tuesday night, me and my man Tony Tone, we do this right here on the Chilltown Hoops and Sports Fluent Network. Every Tuesday, we bring you pro basketball. This is what we talk about. So we will see you guys soon. It was great to have you guys here tonight. We will see you soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. Talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. No doubt.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.